Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, SuperCoach Pro. Today's video, we're doing a round 10 SuperCoach preview here. I did make a recording just before, and then I got a phone call for a job I applied, and I got the interview, so I start this job next week. So yeah, video is coming out a little bit late tonight, so I do apologise in advance. I guess that's just life sometimes. So stuck into the side. Look, round 9 wasn't great for it. We did do the review Monday, and yeah, I'm hoping to bounce back here. So our projection is meant to be about 2-4. We've got 18 trades left. Team value is still pretty high, and we're just trying to crack into that top 5,000 this week. I'm not an advocate this week to trade out someone like Canelio. I think he's more of a perfect F7 / M9 sort of player in the future, especially with a new coach. He probably gets a little bit more midfield time, and really looking forward to what the Giants provide. A little bit disappointing that Hamilton gets dropped, but I actually did need a loophole this week, and that's sort of perfect for it. Optimising the side, I've never really done that, so I don't really want DeConning as my emergency there. And we will have a sneaky look of what the trade assist does, just for gigs, really. Canelio for Clark, there's no way I'm doing that. I can't actually believe it didn't suggest Hayes for Clark. Beside the point, I guess trade assist is pretty irrelevant, and I do not recommend using it after seeing that. I think Greg Clark is the only player on the rookie bubble that I'd be touching this week in terms of job security and scoring output. I think, sort of players like Roy Thompson, looking at it, doesn't feel like a player that will go very high past 250k. I just don't think it's really worth the jump right now, and having Carroll, Newcomb and Clark in the midfield sort of really strengthens a by coverage point scoring sort of outlet instead of having McDonald and Ward and Stevenson, who's not even playing, sort of gigs. Well, he might be, I'm not sure if he is, I haven't looked tonight. But beside the point, you don't really look at rookies that you don't have anymore on if they're named. So, Greg Clark for my emergency. The other thing I've been thinking about too is who to trade out, and you look through your scores. I think Dacos is averaging 81, but Luke Ryan's no different, and I'd rather sort of play Dacos ahead of Luke Ryan, and I think this is the week to get rid of him if you own him and you are one of the whatever percentage he is at this point. He's just not worth it. He's an antipod really in your side. I'll just see what the percentage is. So, he's in 6% of the sides, and I'd rather have, McCartan and Dacos, worst case scenario, playing back there as in compared to an antipod like Ryan. He's got 3 good scores for the year, held on for him for 9 rounds, and I feel like it's 9 rounds too long. You take away this score, and he's probably not even averaging 80, to be honest. That 156 is an anomaly to his scoring output. And I think it's just definitely time to go for him. I have a few options in the back line, and you sort of go, oh yeah, but who do you want right now? And I probably don't want a round 12 bye player at this stage. I'd rather pick him up after 12 bye. I don't mind around 13, but there's no one relevant around 14. There's a couple different players in the round 13 bye that I do like. And there's 3 I'm going to choose from, and it's really difficult because I'm kind of looking at the players that the teams they play before the bye. So Jordan Dawson plays St Kilda, Geelong and West Coast. So one of those are an easy game. The other 2 are pretty hard coming into it. So I'm not too keen looking at Dawson. I wasn't at preview, but I'd rather pick him up here where he plays West Coast, Gold Coast and North, all in that little block. So maybe 2 weeks' time I target him, or even after the West Coast, after his bye, potentially. Miss out on that game and get Gold Coast, North Melbourne, Melbourne run, potentially. I've also considered Bailey Dale as a bit of left field pod. He is quite expensive though for my liking. I don't know, maybe his fixture looks a little bit more appealing before his bye. He's got Gold Coast, West Coast and Geelong, so I probably like that a little bit better because then he's got Giants, Hawthorn So this is interesting. I'm sort of talking myself into these picks right now. And he's a pod. He's an absolute pod. He's in 4% of sides. We look at his scoring. He hasn't gone worse than an 86, and his highest is 121, but he's just consistent. He's sort of like, your Tom Stewart sort of pick. I'm not interested in Stewart, obviously because I can't afford him, but his price is too much. The other option I'm highly considering is Sinclair, but I'm not sure if without Steele he'll be better or worse. It's a little bit. You'd think he'd be better because he gets more CBAs, and he's playing Adelaide, who are actually playing well this season. In my opinion, anyway, the wins aren't there on the board, but I think they look good. He plays North, Brisbane, Essendon, so he's got a bit of a mixed bag in the next 4 or 5. But on paper, I'm kind of leaning towards, by the fixture's sake anyway, Bailey Dale. Withering's another one. I've just never been a great fan. I think I like recommending a pick, but when I want to put someone in my own side, he feels like I just want to see a whole season of this consistency. He's got the highest ceiling out of any of these players that we're talking about. So, it is good that they're getting a lot of ball back there, but for all the wrong reasons. They're getting smashed every week. So he probably does get a lot of kickouts and intercepts and what not have you. But if they win, he's scoring a 63, and they're probably not going to get many wins. But I also don't want to pay $600K for Withering or thereabouts. So, I actually think, just by looking at all those things, I'll wait on Dawson for 2 weeks, and I think I'm going to go for Dale. I think he's... I don't know how well he plays at, I forget the stadium, Mars, I think it is. Have a look at his... Okay, so he got 1.29 against them last time, 89 and 50. Does he score bad against West Coast because they're not going to get much ball down that end? That's an interesting one, but you think he just racks it up anyway because they're so useless. No offense to West Coast supporters out there, but I think just on fixture alone, I've convinced myself for him. I actually didn't plan on Baildale. I think in the preview I went for Dawson, and it only leaves me $54,000 in the bank. I don't mind that. I think, you know what, I think we're going to do that tonight. We're just going to make the move and get it over with. For vice captain and captain options, it's a bit of everything here. I'm going to use Hamilton, so he's that game down there. So probably BC, Clary, I'd say. North Melbourne pretty bad. And Hawthorn give away a lot of points to mids, so probably going to go with that. I'd say Oliver into Neil. I was thinking about Cripps tonight against Sydney. Don't got to worry about a George Hewitt tag because they're playing the same side this year, which is a silly joke, but whatever. And McRae, I'm a little bit lost on. I don't have the confidence in VCing this bloke. Whereas Oliver could go nuts against North Melbourne. I thought this last week about West Coast and didn't happen, so I'm kind of hoping he pulls his finger out, so to speak, in terms of SuperCoach points. I mean, he's not playing for SuperCoach points. Obviously, he doesn't give a stuff about any of that stuff. Why would you when you're on that coin? But I feel like it's more of a safe bet. Like, he could go 170 in there. And for me, Neil as well, just got such a high ceiling there. And against Hawthorn, have a sneaky look. I don't know what happened in that 70. Maybe got injured last year because he was pretty injured last year. But he's got a 157, 114. And Gold Coast actually playing all right this year. So I could even do Miller. But I just feel more confident in those two. If I was really risky, I could put the C on Darcy. But it could really be any of these four that you'd go. A smoky could even be Sicily down back. So it's actually a hard week to pick because of Hamilton is such a good loop this week, and I actually did need a loop. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise, so to speak, in regards to Hamilton getting dropped. I think he'll be back in shortly. Now, for my opinions, these are just opinions only, but I don't understand why you'd get rid of Dacos at this point. He's got the last bye. Unless he's your worst rookie, you're probably in the top 1K. But his scoring output for a D6 is actually pretty decent. If you got him at D5, you can understand swinging him out now. But I have no problem holding a guy averaging 80 that was a rookie rather than someone like a Whitfield or a Ridley who's not playing again, or with Ryan, who I got rid of for Bailey-Dale. I feel like it's a fine move. I don't think I will regret it. And I just can't see myself moving DeConning or McCartan yet. They haven't hit their break even. I could see a point for getting rid of Roses now that he plays the Dogs. But I think he can still hit his break even. That's why I held on to him last week. And Greg Clark has to be the guy you bring in. In terms of rookies, I mean, I don't really trust Bulldog players, especially when they get Josh Bruce coming back in that forward line at some point. Dogs and Giants are really hard teams to sort of get a hold of in terms of who's playing where at any given moment. I just don't really want a key forward playing in defence. I'd almost rather Rory Thompson, to be honest. He kicked 3 goals for a 60-point game. If we do have a look at the rookies just quickly, just for a bit of extra content here, and where are we going? So we're going to filter by, or even just have a look. So a lot of people are bringing in Greg Clark. I think you should have actually probably waited till now to bring him in instead of going early on a pick like this, because you probably don't have too many players you wanted to downgrade to this week. And Rory Thompson's not very highly owned rookie, so I don't feel confident in picking a guy that's going to be in like 7% of size, and if he gets dropped one week, he's an anti-rookie pod. So I look at it that way and I go, I just don't want any bar of it. He could be sort of like the Nathan Brown from St Kilda, who sits at 240k for the year, scores your 40s, and you don't even want to field him even if you had an emergency. You'd rather sideways your primo than cop a 40 from a bloke like that. Thinking about it a little bit more. Dusty, Sicily, Took, can understand the reasoning for all these picks, really, that you're trading him in for. But trades out, who are they all trading out this week? I haven't really had much of a gaze. Definitely trade out Jack Steele. I really like the look of Mills, Laird, and Petrarca are my top 3 for various reasons. Canelio, I wouldn't do it. Personally, I could be wrong on this, and you could play it, half forward flank or anywhere now they've got a new coach, but I just don't think he's one I'm willing to get rid of. Same with Dacos. Whitfield, I'd absolutely jump off this train. O'Driscoll, you have to, although you could use him as a sneaky loop. And I'd almost rather trade out rookies who have high break-evens that are playing than a guy that's not going to play and not going to lose any cash, if that makes sense. And Nick Martin, he plays Tigers, and we give away points in the midfield, so I'd hold on to him too. These two I'd absolutely get rid of, McDonald and Ward, which I did a couple of weeks ago, and Gibcus, I'd hold on to him just a little bit longer this week. So that's my opinion on some players. Look, if you do got any comments on any trades, do leave them in the comments. I do check quite regularly. I'm not going away this weekend, so I'll be able to catch a few more games than what I did. Obviously going to Richmond Essendon, so if you do see me in the crowd somewhere, do say hello. And yeah, it should be a good night going with a few mates there. So I hope you enjoy. That's the round 10 preview done and dusted. And I'll catch you guys on the round 10 review Sunday night or Monday morning. See how we go. Have a good one.